Hello. Welcome. So today we're going to do something a little different. I'm going to give this a second. I'm looking at some stuff on here. All right. I'll do a new intro. Take two. All right. Hey, what's up, everybody? Sorry. Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Chris. Today we're going to make an AI assistant. It's going to be a little different today because I don't have anybody teaching me this. This is something I've been learning on my own. Actually taking course right now on AI, but it's kind of more general, and so I've been learning from some YouTube stuff. And I thought I'd try and build an AI assistant or like an AI agent. Some people are calling them. They're kind of this new thing in AI. So you've obviously heard of ChatGPT, unless you live under a rock. And ChatGPT is almost like it's almost like the new engine or the core thing that people are building all sorts of stuff on top of, because ChatGPT is really general, so it can kind of do anything, but it's also being so general, like it doesn't have like deep. You have to kind of really work at it to get it to go down a deep rabbit hole on something, and that's where these agents or assistants or whatever you want to call them come in. You can make them pretend that they are a specific thing. So you could pretend that they are a social media manager or a book editor or a graphic designer, like all sorts of things people are trying to do with these. So I don't know that much about it. I'm just learning, and I wanted to try something, see if we could get an agent or an assistant to do some stuff for us. So that's what we're going to try to do today. I don't have anybody here with me today, so this is a solo run. I guess in a sense, the AI will be with me today. Maybe we'll get to a point where we give it a name, or maybe we'll totally fail. So yeah, let's give it a go. All right, let's see if I've got this set up right. Yeah. All right. So here's our window. Okay, cool. Hopefully everyone can see this. So this is uh, OpenAI's platform, and OpenAI, of course, makes ChatGPT, and people have probably tried, at least played around with that. If not, you should check it out. Just throw some stuff at it. It's at chatgpt.com. You can ask it all sorts of things. Like you can message ChatGPT and say, well, let's just use like what's the best way to achieve high production value for a live stream? And it'll answer sort of like with all sorts of stuff. So equipment, lighting, internet, blah, blah, blah. It's kind of like, I mean, it's a lot of people have theorized that AI is one of the first things they'll do or start to replace is Google searches, because you can see how much like more clear this answer is than a Google search. Like I don't have to click through a bunch of links and get ads and all sorts of stuff. So yeah, so that's just ChatGPT. If you've never tried it before, you can throw pretty much anything at it and it'll give you some kind of response. But this response is really generic. Like it doesn't know anything about me. It doesn't know anything about what I'm trying to do. It's just kind of a really general thing. So that's what I want to try and do is add an assistant that will like do stuff better, do more specific stuff. So I'm going to start with. So I've got a couple ideas here. The first is to do the basic thing, which is an OpenAI assistant, which is just if you have an account with OpenAI, you can go into their like platform.openai.com section and you can try to create assistants. And as you'll see, there's like some cool stuff you can do that will make it more specialized to your use case. And then there's some other third-party ones that are coming out, including some of the old folks that I used to work with at my last startup. But I don't have access to theirs yet. So we're going to use a thing called vector shift in a little bit to try out a no-code automation. And this is no-code as well, the OpenAI one. And the code ones are kind of interesting. I was looking at those. I'm not going to do them in this video, but maybe I'll keep playing around on my own and see if I can do something cool with code in the future. But yeah, there's different ways to make chatbots and automations and things with this tool called Vector Shift that a lot of people have promoted for, especially for the assistance case. So we'll try that out too. But I wanted to start with the basic one. And I have an idea for an assistant I want to make in Vector Shift. But for this one, I thought maybe I'd use like I've been trying to create. I've been writing a book in my spare time, a fiction book. So I was interested to see if I could create a book editor, and I did that just by creating a new assistant, naming it Book Editor. I don't think the name really matters. That's just a unique name or a name for you to recognize it by, and it has like this special code that means something to OpenAI. So then you give it instructions. And so I told my editor that I want it to be a famous literary editor, or pretend to be a famous literary editor, similar to Bob Gottlieb, who's edited a lot of famous books over the years. And I want it to review books and make suggestions for changes that will improve the literary value, blah, 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 blah. So I did that, and then I gave it files. So this is where I think the editor gets, or sorry, the assistant gets more interesting than just ChatGPT, where you can give it different things. And so I just gave it my book, which I was able to upload my book. It's not on this machine, but I gave it my book already. And so I think it should still have it. This is I set this up on my other computer when I was playing around, and now I'm trying it from here. So you can also do functions, which are really specific to, like, you can kind of, this example it shows is getting weather. You can have it search things on the internet. You can give it APIs. You can get stock prices, things like that. So this is how you would really get it to be highly customized. If you were saying, let's say you were going to make like a Reddit bot or something with an assistant, you could have a function that is like get info from Reddit, and that's where it's a little bit code, kind of gets a little bit code like, even for this quote unquote no code OpenAI thing. And we'll see if vector shift is any better at that later when we go to our next assistant. But yeah, so my file in theory should be in there, and I can set some configuration. So this is some stuff I learned about in my AI class, where temperature is like how much you'll let the AI be creative. So if you set it to 0, then it like won't be creative at all. Like it'll only like, unless it's like 100% certain that something's a fact, it won't say anything about it. But so if you try to ask it sort of to be more creative, I can't think of a good example question, but we'll maybe do that in a second. It like, if you're at 0, it won't do anything. And so you can play with this value to see how much how like free are you going to let the AI be. And one of the downsides to jacking it way up is that's where you start to get things that are called hallucinations, which means it's like making up facts that don't actually exist, but it's presenting them as if they were true facts. And that's actually a real big problem with the AI these days. So we're going to leave it at 0.5. It actually started at 1, but I turned it down. So I want it to be like pretty accurate with what it's talking about to me. So I don't, top P, I don't fully understand yet. So we're going to ignore that. All right. So in theory, my book editor has already had my book uploaded into it. What you might want to do if you were building this to be more generic, I think, is you would maybe allow it to like upload. Like if you were going to make an editor for like any book, then you might create a workflow where somebody first gave it a book and then talked with it as if it was an editor. I've just gone ahead and hard coded that because this is my own just like personal little assistant. So in theory, I've given it my book. All right, so I'm just going to try chatting with it. So at the end of the day, your assistants you still work with as if they are chatbots. So let's see. So how many chapters are in the book so far? Let's just ask it like a really basic question and see if it... Okay, so it wants me to upload my book again. Dang it. All right, I'm gonna have to send my book to myself because I don't have it on that computer. One moment, I'm gonna go full screen in case I have to enter in any secret information, like my password. Don't want you all hacking my Gibson. This right here, me logging in and doing stuff on another screen that's quality content. Okay, sorry. So that's something I guess I need to learn about. I thought I was able to upload stuff and have it just be there, but maybe it's like each time you have to upload it, which is kind of a bummer. All right, so I'll just send over. Receive my own email. I did. Okay. All right. I think I can go back to this mode. All right. So we're going to upload from my downloads now, chapters 1 through 9 of my book. Chunk size, tokens. I don't know what any of this means. I'm just going to say, wait, previous parse text is context from the upload will be split into chunks. Okay. Cool. All right. So now we have a stored book in there. Let's try that again. Let's try our message again from before. What did I do? I like that it calls me user and not my name. That makes it kind of breaks it for me. It knows that I'm logged in. So all right, that's not too bad. It doesn't know the titles for the last 4 chapters, which is weird. So I don't know. If I need any specific suggestions or edits for these chapters, feel free to ask. Well, thank you. That was what I was planning to do, AI. Hello, Team Andre. All right. Let's ask it about. Okay, so who are the main? Okay. All right, so these are really simple questions. Like what I wanted to try and see if it would do is if it would give me like some guidance. Yeah, okay, it found my main characters. Nice. I'm not going to get into the details of the book. All right, so like what are the themes of the book? Dang. All right. Yeah. It got at least a couple of the ones that I was going for, I guess. There's a lot of stuff in the early chapters of the book that kind of deal with like climate change, but maybe that's just a setting and not a theme. Interesting. So this is also way more academic than I give myself credit for my book, which is just a silly draft of I don't know. And this makes it sound like an actual book. I'm not sure. Not sure. I think that's giving me too much credit. All right. How about all right? What's your favorite scene? So we're gonna get a little more specific and see if it can like think more like an editor that we were chatting with, because I wouldn't necessarily need to ask my editor how many chapters were there. Okay, I don't need as much detail here. Chat GPT, it also seems to be cutting it off here. All right, cool. If I would like to explore this scene further or discuss ways to enhance its impact. All right, that's what I want to do. How can I enhance the impact of that scene? That's it. All right, well, I'm not going to read too deeply into these because our point is not to edit my book right now. It's just to see what this assistant can do. But this is pretty good. I mean, it's giving me things that I would want from an editor, I suppose. It wants me to add more sensory detail. I mean, some of this is a little generic, but yeah. Cool. So so this is like OpenAI's assistant, and it's doing pretty cool. And like all it really took for it to get it into this editor mode was to like give it some like a little prompt up here about instructions for like what it's supposed to do. But so far this hasn't like blown me away. This is basically ChatGPT. I could probably say imagine you are this to ChatGPT, give it a PDF and get similar responses. So this isn't really impressing me with what assistants are able to do. So that's where I want to check out something like Vector Shift, which is supposed to get a little bit more interesting. And we're going to do something a little bit harder to see if we can challenge this more. All right, so Vector Shift is one of like a bunch of new tools coming out that are attempting to be either no code or low code AI. and they're trying to go beyond just what you get with standard chatbot type stuff. Although you can create a chatbot with it, we're going to try and create an assistant. Now, I'm not really sure where we want to start with this. We've got files, we can use our own documents. All right, so I think what I wanted to try and do was to do something a little bit more complicated that would have to have it potentially go out and talk to the web and maybe do some multiple step things with automations. So let's try creating a pipeline to see if we can do that. Now, the goal that I thought we would try and make an assistant for was like trying to answer the question, can AI buy you happiness? So the assistant's goal will be to run when it runs, which we could schedule it to run. It would prompt me. It would send maybe it can get it to send an email or something. I'm not sure how I want it to prompt me, but I would want it to prompt me like once a week with a couple of ideas for what I can do that week for under a certain amount of money that would just bring more happiness into mine and my friends and family's lives. So that's what I want to try and do. And yeah, because if these AIs aren't making human life better, then why are we even doing it? So one of the things that VectorShift sells itself on is like having all these pre-built templates that you can search and like get interesting connections already. So since I think maybe what I want it to do is email me once a week, I want to maybe I'll start with, rather than starting from scratch, I can start with somebody else that created an email draft. But before I do that, I want to click on this assistance one and see what people have been doing. Okay, so I can. So there's only a couple that are listed as quote unquote assistants, but I don't really care about that because it's all kind of the same thing, or whether it's pipeline or agent or assistant or whatever. It's just an automation that's done with AI. So let's try this, what's probably a pretty basic one, to send an email draft. Okay, so we've got a subject and recipient that we would hard code, it looks like. Text, subject, text TBD. We need to connect our Gmail account. We need to, this is an input it's going to generate for us and put in the body. I see, okay. Well, this would just send it to myself, I guess. Using double curly braces creates a variable. Variables are shown as edge, blah, blah, blah. Okay. So the message, all right. System, you write an email based on the message you received. Field name message. Okay, so I think the thing that's most interesting here is like they've got this Gmail action. I want to, and it's feeding in different text. So actually, this could be kind of useful as a starting point. How do I clone this, or is this already like mine? I'm the owner of this. Okay, so it's already like made a copy. I'm not editing the original, which totally makes sense. So I'm going to have this be like ideas for happiness this week. The recipients are just going to be me. Maybe I could send it to other people in the future. All right. So this open AI one is where it's kind of doing the same thing that we were doing over here, where we're giving it a pre-built instructions, having it imagine that it is something. So in this case, it's a email writing assistant, but I don't want it to write a message based on the message I receive, which I guess is like something a human would type in. What I instead want it to do is to go out and get some ideas or create ideas possibly from a different LLM. And that's where it gets kind of interesting with assistants, which is the power, I think, of assistants, or where I'm most excited about for them is for them to be multiple assistants. So like one assistant writes the email because it like imagines it's a helpful email writing assistant, and then another assistant is like our web searching assistant to go out and find the information. Okay, so here's an LLM, knowledge base, integrations. Okay, so this is where the power of this no-code tool comes in. We can add in all these different things. And that's how we did, they've clearly added in a Gmail node here. You could add in all sorts of cool, like actual get your work done type stuff, Salesforce and Slack and all sorts of things. All right, so data loaders, that's just for files, YouTubes, multimodal. Not really sure. Oh, for vision stuff, I guess. Speech, text. Oh, image generation. That's cool. All right, so we don't want to generate text necessarily, though. We want to. I mean, we do, but we want it to search first. Create and query a temporary vector data in your pipeline. Knowledge. Load a query. Okay. These aren't helpful data loaders. Okay, let's try this search node. Semantic search. Text generates a temporary vector DB to query from. This is not exactly what I was looking for. Load and query. Knowledge base reader. Create a new knowledge base. What does that do? Besides not open the window fully. Let's try that again. Okay, that's kind of sucks. Wonder why it's doing that. Can I see what's in here if I get a little funky with it? All right. So we have a little bit more going on here. API FI key. Well, what's kind of cool is this looks a little bit like what we did in the assistant over here, where we had a file search which created a quote-unquote vector store. So I think that's kind of what we're doing here. But that's not really what I want to do. I want to search the web. ChatGPTs kind of search the web. They have stuff pre-baked into them, or other GPTs, not just ChatGPT. Perplexity. Let's try Perplexity. it's known for being more able to search the recent web, whereas ChatGPT is kind of like pre-coded a bunch of stuff. So let's say you are a research assistant that will look for your research assistant whose job is to find out the latest and greatest. That's stupid. One thing that's really important, I think, with any AI prompts, including making assistants, is to be able to be like kind of perfectly specific in a way that the AI understands and can do pretty specific things. So saying terms like latest and greatest which was what I was first starting to type there, like they might work, but I want to be more specific than that. And what I wanted to find is I'm not sure. What do I want it to find? Do I want it to know about sort of academic stuff on happiness? Do I want it to know like the BuzzFeed take on happiness? Like, where do I want it to source its ideas for happiness? Find out. And we may actually use multiple of these if we can get it wired up right. Let's say, okay, let's have one find out the latest, not the latest, find out the most relevant information on what makes humans happiest. You're a research assistant whose job is to find out the most relevant information on what makes humans happiest. You will write one short answer. You will write one short suggestion that a human can use this week to make themselves happier. All right, and then our prompt is actually, maybe this is our prompt. So we're going to say write one short. Let's see. What is one short based on your research? There's one short suggestion that I can use this week to make myself. What is one short thing that I can do this week to make myself happier? All right, so we're going to pipe that response into this message. We're going to sign in to Google, so no credentials found. Yeah, that's why I was trying to sign in, bruh. Cool. Well, that doesn't work. Let me try refreshing. It's blocking a pop-up. Oh, that's why. Okay. Hold on. Let me hide my screen for a moment. Hi. We're gonna use myself. Okay, that's fine. All right. Well, hopefully I'm not making a terrible mistake because I just give vector shift the ability to see my email. But sometimes, you have to take big risks to. Okay. Dude, this is really buggy. Sorry, I'm still logging in. One more second. All right, so we're back here. I have signed in, or so it thinks. It didn't change anything here. I would want it to see that it was state. But in theory, we actually have enough now to generate something. So I'm going to run this pipeline and see what happens. Run. The nodes ran successfully. This is cool. We got charged AI credits, which I haven't given them any kind of credit card info, so that's cool. Integration 1 failed. Integration not selected. Please select your credit integration by connecting your account. Well, I certainly tried to do that, and we did this, and we did that, and I guess, I don't know, whatever. All right, make sure I trust them. I don't know if I do. You've reached the max number of integrations for your current subscription. Please upgrade it. Okay, so this is where vector shift gets you. They want you to pay. Of course they do. I am not ready to give them. Wait, I'm supposed to get one. Oh, maybe that was the perplexity and integration. All right. Well, honestly, I haven't been really impressed with vector shift. So even though I'm kind of like, I get where they're coming from, it does seem more. It does seem like more helpful. Like you're gonna be able to do a lot more things than you can do with just the assistance in OpenAI, because you have like this only gives you sort of like tweaks to what you. This is just helping you ask OpenAI questions, basically, um, and maybe remember some stuff in these vector stores and whatever. This is going to like let you actually run a full workflow, and so that's pretty cool. But I'm not ready to give it $25 a month to do this, even though it wasn't too bad. And part of the reason, like, so for me personally, how come I can't go in? Oh, I have to click on edit down here. So for me personally, I think part of the reason why I'm stopping here and why I'm not going to give them more money is because as like easy as this was to click through, one of the things that I really wanted to do, or one I wanted to see more of, was like how these system or these agents, is what I would call them, work together. And in this case, it's very linear, right? So I'm setting up a like this thing sends something to this thing, and that is cool. But one of the powerful things that I've heard that I've seen some coding examples for. So this is a no-code tool, but for some coding examples, what I've seen is assistants that will work together. And so like this one would tell this one something, and then this one might say, well, oh, actually that's not right. I want, like do better. So I'm interested to see if with a coding tool, before I commit to this, and maybe the coding tool end up being too difficult or too time consuming, because this was pretty darn easy. We were able to make this in just a couple minutes using somebody else's starting point. But I wanted to see the run result. Will it show me that? One short thing you can do this week is to make yourself happy is to practice daily gratitude. In bold. Will you tell me more? That's another reason why I don't want to pay for this. There's a few things that are a little buggy. Let's open up a code window so I can paste what it said. Okay, so it didn't copy the response. It copied, did it? No, it copied the prompt. So yeah, this tool is kind of poorly written. Oh wait, it does copy that. Okay. One short thing you can do this week to make sure how it's practice. Research suggests that expressing gratitude can improve your mood, reduce stress and anxiety, and enhance overall life satisfaction. Oops, we'll do that later. Either in the morning, reflect on small. Okay. Let's see. Actually, so this is kind of. I am curious what our email guy got here. Dear recipient's name. Does email find you well? You never get through the ebbs and oh my god. Oh, I would wow. I would kill myself. No, that's too hard. I would definitely not want to receive this. Let's just put it that way. From myself, especially. Like, what am I doing to myself in this scenario? All right. So we're not doing great. How does it... Well, this is another problem with this, at least this particular one, is that it's got... We're passing in the text, but this is trying to generate the subject text. So we've got all sorts of issues here. Yeah. I am not going in the direction that I want here. So yeah, so I don't know. I think what I will say about vector shift is if you didn't have any coding ability and you were willing to deal with some of the quirks of what looks like a pretty new and interesting platform, then yeah, you could make some stuff for yourself. I think that my future track on this will be to go towards doing code development because the code is actually not that difficult to do either. We use a tool called Collab from Google. So it's Google Collab. And you can create these notebooks. And there's other tools for notebooks out there. Collab is just one of the ones I've heard about recently. So I'll create a new notebook. And a notebook is a way to like kind of add code and text in line together, typically using Python. But it's because Python, like most of the AI code out there is actually written in Python. And so, for example, I can just search for collab Python AI agent example. And I'm going to get a bunch of existing ones. Okay, let's try this. This is a link to somebody else's Google Colab. Agently is the library they're using. Agently is a development framework that helps developers build AI agents. So it looks like there's some settings you would set. And then here's where it's kind of like agent. And then you tell it to do something, and it's going to give you some output. And this is in these, why we would use these collab things, not only because they're shareable, but I can actually run this code, I think. Like this is real code. So if I change this to forwards and run it, it warns me. But all right, well, I maybe I didn't do something right. Maybe you have to run them all again or something. Like I have to run this probably. Well, so that puts that in there. But yeah, anyways, these are really cool, and we've been looking at them in my AI class, and I've seen a lot of examples on the web of how you would use this to create agents. So now that that's installed, maybe this will work. Still issues. Maybe this wasn't done yet. Almost done. Well, one of the things about any kind of code that you're borrowing from the internet is you're never really sure what state it's in. This could be old code. It could be something bad. Okay. But the point was to say that I've already seen a bunch of great examples, ones that actually worked. I was going to try and find one. Autogen Agently is one I hadn't heard of yet. Autogen is very popular. Let's see. So we could say Cloud Python. What's there's another one? Cloud Python AI agent libraries. Python. So a bunch of these already exist. Tech with Tim. We could do some Tech with Tim videos. Where's my mouse? There it is. Mouse wheel is weird. OpenAI. There was a OpenAI. There was one that I wanted to try. AI. I think this is kind of giving me like AI libraries and not really AI assistant libraries. Like TensorFlow is like a very like kind of core level AI library. But there's some other ones that are supposed to be easier to use and already set up to do agents, similar to that one that was called Agently. But I'm probably going down a bit of a rabbit hole here further than I wanted to go. I will probably keep playing with this on my own, but the point was not to code today. It was just to play around with some agents and see if we could get something to work. And this was a little disappointing, honestly. But I think that the core thing I was interested in, if I learned something today, it was around this interaction between these two LLMs. So these are the closest things we have in this example to agents because we've told them sort of what they are. And you can see that they do try to make something of it. So I can make this prompt more specific. What is one short thing I use? Like, so happy. Please be specific and cite your sources. So if I want to make like this truly be kind of research based or at least more academic, I'll leave this here, even though it's going to fail when it gets there. Um, and you can do a chatbot out of it, but I don't really want to. So I wanted to see what it would like run if we were actually automating it, and we'll see what we. So it gave me practice gratitude again. One thing we'd have to do. One short thing you can do this week to make yourself happy is practice gratitude. This means keeping the journal. All right. So that one was a little better with the slightly revised thing. I want to run it again and see if I get something besides practicing gratitude, or if it's always going to tell me I should practice gratitude. Yeah, it's always telling me to practice gratitude. So we we would need to tell it not to do it. Like we probably need to keep track of what its past suggestions were, which you can do like in the chatbot form. Like if we just did this in OpenAI, or chat, if we just did this in ChatGPT, let's do that. We could, and I'm using the free. I think I'm using the free one. What version? Yeah, I'm just using the free one. So let's do like we could kind of emulate this just in ChatGPT, which is why vector shift isn't that impressive. But what we're really interested in was these connections, and maybe they would work with more effort, but it seemed pretty boring, pretty unimpressive in terms of what you're connecting. All right, so if I just give this message to, oops, sorry, I'm on both a Windows and a Mac at the same time here. So here we go. There's my pipeline. Let's see if that's the right keys. Nope, it wasn't. There we go. All right, so we do that, and then we give it the prompt. We just do that all in one, and it's going to probably tell me practice gratitude. Oh, but here it's giving me something that violated their terms of usage. Cool. And this could be hallucinated too. We don't actually know if the study exists. We'd actually have to go and look at and see. It doesn't say what study, it just says a study. So little bad there. But what's cool about this is, though, even in chatbot mode with ChatGPT and not doing anything fancy with assistants, I can just say, what's another thing? And it tells me a completely different thing. So, yeah, so we could get, like, the idea was to take something that, like, we've seen ChatGPT do and turn it into something that was more repeatable. And I think I've just failed at that. The tools, I don't know the tools well enough, / I didn't want to pay for them. The code, I think we could definitely get there with code, but I couldn't find a simple starting point. So we would have to, go and do some more research. That's going to take more time than I want to invest for this video. So maybe some future thing. Maybe I'll just do it afterwards and let you all know what I come up with. But yeah, basically what I just typed into ChatGPT, I wanted it to kind of do and automate for me. I wanted to try and get maybe more specific. So like going from these kind of generic recommendations to things like, I live in Santa California, or how about this? Near Santa Clara, California. What are good spots to go to spend time in nature? So this is where it starts to go from being like generic to specific, and these questions that I'm asking it, my idea would have been to have two agents, right? You have an agent that's like doing the research, which is effectively just what we did with that first prompt here. And then we would have another agent that's sort of asking these same questions. So this, our secondary agent is like the thing that's going to take the research and turn it into like an action plan for me. So it's like, okay, cool. You happiness researcher, you are telling me that going to nature is great. Based on the stuff I know about Chris, I'm going to ask you some questions about, or we're gonna like, we're gonna find out how we can take some of those examples into to actual uh, action that we could take. And so going from spend time in nature to like, hey, on Tuesday, go to Rancho San Antonio County Park. Here's directions. Here's, it'll take you 20 minutes to get there, 20 minutes back. You have a 2-hour block in your schedule. You should go to the park at this time. So that was like where I think this would get to, and it's going to take me some work to do it. I might try and do it with code, but I'll do that off stream. So this has been my first attempt at total novicing AI assistance, and was not as successful, but definitely learned some things. Definitely saw some stuff that's pretty interesting. I think if vector shift or tools like it got a little better, a little smoother, / maybe if I just paid for it, it would work better. But even so, we can see how like the interaction that I described just a second ago at the end, where like I want this thing to like work back and forth with a recommendation to figure out like something, and then maybe have that recommendation like know more about me, like my schedule or where I live or things like that. That could give me specific things. Yeah, that's what I was hoping to get to, and I don't know that I can do that without code. Or at least I don't see any tool in here that gives me hope for being able to do that. This seems very, very linear. But if you do have a linear thing where you just want to like automate something from your work or like Slack messages or something like that, this could be cool. So maybe check that out if you're trying to do work automations. Which, by the way, I think if you're not trying to do work automations with AI, you might be falling behind. I definitely feel like I'm worried about that, and that's kind of why I've been starting to play with this stuff. It's because all the tech nerds out there are going to be able to be super productive and get things done with their AIs. So yeah, I want to stay on top of that tech personally. So I will follow up at some future point. I will follow up on all of my past videos at some future point. But on this AI stuff in particular, I will let you know if I figure out a way to do the assistant of my dreams, the happiness assistant of my dreams. And like the challenge, of course, is to see if AI can buy you happiness. So we'll see. Anyways, thanks for hanging out for a bit. If you did, whoever you are, I will see you all next time.